Hello everyone, I hope you're doing good. So I have 6 books that I read in October and I'm going to do a quick review on each of those. So some of these are thrillers and some are kind of horror stories for October and Halloween and that. So I'll start with probably my favorite one for this month, and that was The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. So this takes place in a small village called Chapelcroft in England, and this small village does have quite a history. 500 years ago, some Protestant martyrs were burned at the stake. About 30 years ago, 2 teenage girls went missing, and then a few weeks ago, the vicar hung himself in the chapel. So this new vicar comes to the village, and she has a 15-year-old daughter, and they find out quite quickly a lot of strange things are happening, and a lot of people aren't very friendly in this particular town. There's a little bit of paranormal, but I didn't find that it really affected the story too much. But throughout, things happen to them, and they find out that there's a lot of secrets that are going on. And at the end, everything kind of comes to a head, and there's a twist at the end, which I was just not expecting at all. There was quite a few twists. I mean, when all the secrets finally came out and that, there's quite a few shocks. But the twist at the end, I just was not expecting that. Came out of left field, so I really did enjoy it. I do love mysteries that take place in the small villages, and yeah, this one was really quite good. It was quite hard to put down, so I give this about a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And then the one that I really half of it I enjoyed, the other half not so much. And this is The Curse of Misty Wayfair by Jamie Jo Wright. So this was a dual timeline story. So the first one took place at the 19th century, about, I think it was 1908 or something like that. And then present day. So in the past, this woman, she goes from village to village and town to town, photographing the dead. So in Victorian times, it was quite common. A lot of people didn't have photographs of their relatives. It was very expensive. So the only time they actually sometimes took photographs is when a member of the family passed away. And they would actually literally either stand the dead relative up or sit them up and take pictures with the rest of the family. So yeah, that was probably the only photographic memory they had of their loved one, is when they passed away. So this woman goes and photographs the dead, and she goes back to the small village because she knew her mother had grown up there and had passed away in this mental facility. So she goes back to the small town to find out what really happened to her mother, and she starts photographing the patients for record keeping in the local mental facility. So that was all quite interesting. There's a little bit of a mystery that she's trying to uncover in that, and that time period I didn't mind. But the present one was, I just grinded my teeth every time I had to read the present. This woman returns to where her parents and her sister live. She left them when she was 18. She was kind of rebellious and didn't like how she was being brought up and all the restrictions, etc. I think she was 30 at the time she returned to this town. But she wants to kind of reconcile with her family and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of strange happenings, very scary things happen to her. She's kind of harassed by this person she doesn't know anything about. But there's a so-called love interest, I think it's trying to be, and it just fails miserably. She has a lot of anxiety, and she's on medication and all this stuff, and I don't know. She meets this one family, and the son in the family, I guess, is the love interest, but he's has a personality of a slug. He treats her like garbage, I think. There's just absolutely no chemistry, what's irritating is this main character, she came across as this hopeless female that could not control her emotions or control herself, and that she needed a man in her life to make everything right again. And the guy in her life was a prick. That was just irritated the heck out of me. So the storyline in the past, I give like a 3 out of 5 stars. The present day storyline, like a 1 out of 5. So it averaged out to be about a 2 out of 5. That present day storyline it was like fingernails on a chalkboard. And then I had purchased this other book of hers because the covers are quite intriguing. This is The House on Foster Hill by Jamie Jo Wright. So I had purchased this through Book Outlet, and then after I read that one, I thought, do I really want to read this one? If it's anything like this one, if it goes in that direction. So I thought, you know what, life's too short. I'm just going to give it to a thrift store, see if someone else enjoys it. So that one just irritated me to no end. Okay, one I did like, Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. So this one was really quite good. So these 10 people are kind of lured to this island off the coast of England. They're from all different backgrounds. There's a judge and oh god, there's so many of them. This elderly woman who they think she used to be a teacher. I can't remember anyhow. But anyway, they're all from different backgrounds. So they are brought to this island, and of course they didn't have cell phones back then, and there was no boat to bring them back to the island. There's a storm and everything like that. So they're kind of cut off from civilization. And one by one, they're murdered. And throughout the story, one by one, they are killed off. And yeah, it certainly left me guessing who was the culprit. And yeah, it was actually really, really good. I enjoyed that one. Bentley Little, The Haunted. I haven't read one of his stories in a long time. It was okay. I do prefer thrillers over horror books. This one is just about a couple who left their previous neighborhood because things were happening. The neighbors weren't great and all that sort of thing. So they find a new house, and then all these spooky paranormal things start to happen to them. It got to the point where it's like, why aren't they moving out? Because if that happened to me, I would not be going near my house. Yeah, it was pretty good, but yeah, the ending, I just kind of read the ending. Like a lot of horror books, I kind of read the ending and going, what? Yeah, the ending just really was kind of fell flat for me. It just like, huh, what? So anyway, yeah, it was okay. I don't know if I'd really recommend it or not. This is The Lost Village by Camilla Sten, and I believe she is a Swedish author. I'm pretty sure she's a Swedish. Yeah, I think she is. Anyway, this back in 1959, this couple police officers go to this village, and there's probably close to 900 people living in this village, and they go there and it's completely empty. It's like everyone just dropped what they were doing and left. There's only 2 people in the village. One woman who is tied to a pole and appears to have been stoned to death. And then they hear a baby crying, and that's the only survivor is this baby. So this woman in present day is a filmmaker, and she decides to do a documentary on this village because her grandmother grew up in this village, but she wasn't present when the people disappeared. She was she had moved out of this village. She just was curious, what actually really happened. It was still a mystery. So her and her film crew go to this village, and a lot of weird and spooky things do happen. And each of them kind of carries their own little secret there, and some of those secrets come out throughout the story, which is quite interesting. The ending, it makes sense. Like the general idea of the ending makes sense, but it's still left a lot more questions and answers for me. So I really did enjoy it. It was very spooky, very atmospheric. I would have been freaked right out myself. But yeah, just the ending, I thought, just left more questions and answers. But I really did enjoy reading it. And then this is The Mistress of the Art of Death by Ariana Franklin. So this takes place in 1171 when King Henry II was in power in England. And 4 children from this village are found murdered. So King Henry wants these deaths investigated. So normally there's masters of the art of death. So they're similar to coroners. So they go in and investigate deaths or wrongdoings and find out who caused the murders, etc. Now this particular woman, I think she's what's her name? Adelia, sorry. She was trained in Salerno, and Salerno, Italy was the only place training women doctors. They were much more progressive than other places. So she was the mistress of the art of death. So she arrives at the village with 2 other people. Another investigator and kind of like a bodyguard, and they investigate what was happening, and it's very interesting. The characters are very interesting. There's a lot of kind of separate plots here and there, but they all kind of came together at the end. It was very interesting. Like this character, Adelia, is she's a feisty little woman there, and I really loved her character. And yeah, the ending was an interesting ending. I mean, it was I don't think it was a huge surprise or anything like that, but just getting to the end of the story and going through all these little plots and finding out how they investigated the deaths and all the characters and all the little mini plots and everything. It was a fun book to read, and I really enjoyed it. I love medieval times, so just learning how they lived back then and how they investigated things and medical procedures, etc. It was just a really fun read for me. And I do have the next 2 or 3 books of this series also. So if you do love medieval books, mysteries, and there's like some little medical stuff thrown in there, this is a really, really good series. So those are the books I read, and right now I'm reading Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, and this takes place in Iceland in 1829. This woman is, along with another woman and a man, are accused of murder and arson. And yeah, it's just she has to stay with this family until her execution. I did read another Hannah Kent book that takes place in Ireland called Good People. That is an excellent, excellent book. It takes place in 18th century Ireland, and it's about folklore, etc. Such a good book. Good People by Hannah Kent. So I did really want to read this one, and so far I'm not too far into it. Well, maybe not quite a third, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a slow burn, but it's a page turner for me. So anyway, that's it. I'm running out of battery, so I better go. So happy reading for November, and take care, be kind, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.